Bitcoin dropped below $75,000, coming within inches of a very crucial level that I have been eyeing for quite some time. This level can provide a big opportunity in this market. Now, of course, when Bitcoin dumps, so does Ethereum. Speaking of Ethereum, Tom Lee is now down $7 billion on his Ethereum investment. Remember, this was the guy that told you Ethereum would hit $100,000 in 2025. In today's video, we'll be talking about all of this. We also have some very important economic data coming out. If you enjoy the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. Without further ado, let's jump right into the video. All right, so let's kick us off. If you're new to the channel, I shorted Bitcoin at around $97,000. I'm still holding on to a lot of my position, but you can see that I have started to gradually take some more profits off of this trade. Everyone was euphoric. It was the time to go short. Now, everyone is getting very scared in this market. This is typical bear market price action. I know some of you might not want to believe it, but guys, we have seen this time and time again, and there's no reason to fade the 4-year cycle if it continues to play out as history would suggest it would. So right now you need to understand that we're approaching a critical level here. And what is that level, you might ask? Well, if I take a look at the Bitcoin chart, we take this horizontal ray with the magnet and we grab this level all the way down here. This was when we had the tariff capitulation at the beginning of 2025. So Bitcoin is just about to tap into that level. And the reason I say just about is because if we zoom in close enough here, you can see that we have not quite tapped into the level. We missed it by like $100. The reason why this is so significant is because usually we can see reversals from these kinds of liquidity sweeps. So I would like to see Bitcoin sweep this level and reclaim it before I would consider going for a little bit of a long in this market. But to repeat myself, I am very comfy in my shorts. I will hold on to this position because I do ultimately think that Bitcoin will be headed lower. However, from a next trade opportunity, I think that sweeping this low and then reclaiming could provide an excellent setup. Now, I need to warn you, it isn't as simple as just going max long if we break this level, because we need to see a key reclaim. If we lose this level and we start to get daily closes below this low at around $74,400, depending on which exchange you're looking at, well, that could mean that Bitcoin already wants to go lower. There's a couple of ways that this can play out. Number one is Bitcoin could just essentially drop without any kind of bounces. Now, I'm not necessarily banking on this. The reason I say this is because this time around, we did not have a euphoric top. In the previous cycle, which I've been comparing to quite a lot on the channel, we did have a euphoric top. And what this means is the price action can just absolutely nuke. Something you need to consider here, if we go all the way to 2021, 2022, the price action that we're seeing right now is quite similar, to say the least. If we go ahead and take a bar pattern, you'll notice that this kind of price action is very similar to the previous cycle. Let's just take it from here to here and I'll overlay it to show you exactly what I'm talking about. So if I take this pattern and bring it to today's price action, you'll notice that we had a similar top, but it's more important to consider the actual bounce that we got, which is looking very similar. Right now, Bitcoin got that bounce up into the bull market support band right around $97,000. And a quick recap, that is one of the reasons why I went short in this market. Everyone was very excited. The bull market is back, but that's when you want to go short. But what you need to understand is that last cycle, we did have a blow off top. So here's the thing. If Bitcoin is to lose this level and we start to get daily candle closes below 74.4K, then I would be anticipating that Bitcoin can head lower. Now, what would be the next level of interest if Bitcoin is to go lower? I would like to bring the fixed range volume profile to your attention. So if we take it from here back in 2024 up until we actually had this breakout, what you'll notice here is that the point of control of this range is actually found around $67,500. So if Bitcoin does get a daily close below 74.4K, I actually think that the probabilities would increase that we can actually go all the way down to here, and this should provide quite a lot of support. Remember what I said, we usually don't just go down in a straight line. Can we replicate exactly what happened in 2022 where Bitcoin hit the bull market support band and then we just absolutely nuked and continue to nuke? Of course, that's a possibility. But because we did not get that euphoria, I am willing to bet on the fact that we will get some kind of bounce. This is all from a trading perspective. The thing you need to also understand is that my base case is even if we do get this bounce from a trading perspective, I do think that we will ultimately head lower, because even all the way down here, Bitcoin is currently only down around 40% from the highs. Now, if you're new to crypto, you might be thinking, what? 40% is a massive drop. But guys, in bear markets, Bitcoin has historically dropped over 75%. Now, if you've been watching me, you know that my base case is that Bitcoin likely won't drop that much simply because we have so many institutions involved. We have the ETFs. There is easier access to crypto. So while I am assuming diminishing drawdown, it would be foolish to not expect at least some kind of 50 to 60% correction. 50% would bring us all the way down to the low 60K. 60% would bring us all the way down to the low 50K level. This is not out of the question. You need to understand that this is a possibility. So what I'm trying to do with my channel here is to show you some trading opportunities, but also from a spot portfolio perspective. The moment that Bitcoin drops below $70,000, I will slowly start to dollar cost average from a spot portfolio perspective. You need to understand that, because I won't be catching the perfect bottom. That is for sure. What you want to do is dollar cost average as we head lower. Ultimately, I do think that Bitcoin is here to stay. This is just a bear market, a typical bear market that we've seen, and we will be getting another big bull market cycle. That is my base case. Of course, nothing that I discuss on the channel should be construed as financial advice. And if you want access to all of my own personal trades, how I am personally navigating this market, you do have the first link in my description down below. DM me the keyword 2026 and I'd be happy to onboard you in my group. Remember, this is where I posted my most recent Bitcoin short, and this continues to pay me dividends as Bitcoin heads lower. But like I shared in this video, my next big trade will likely be a long. If I get stopped out, I get stopped out, and I'll let you know, of course, when I do enter that trade, the group first, then I'll come on the YouTube channel. But what I want you to understand here is that once we sweep these lows, if we get a reclaim, it could be a very strong risk to reward opportunity, targeting some kind of $5,000 to $10,000 bounce in this market, and then we'll have to see how the price action develops. That is currently what I'm eyeing. Now, this isn't a call for you to bet your life savings on a long. The reason I say this jokingly is because I know there's some people that watch crypto YouTube channels, and if someone says, I'm longing, they go max long. That is not how you want to trade this market. I have invalidations, and those invalidations will be respected. If we just nuke below here, then naturally I will not be entering a long, and I will be looking for support at this point of control from this 2024 range before we manage to get a significant breakout to the upside, all the way down to 67.5K. We have to see what the price action gives us. Remember, trading is all about probabilities. So next up, I wanted to show you the liquidation map. Guys, you know I'm a fan of this, and on the 1 year time frame, there is over 24 billion worth of cumulative short liquidation leverage. If Bitcoin were to, for example, go up to $110,000, it would liquidate all of these shorts. And to the downside here, if Bitcoin were to go down to just 65K, that's only 2 billion worth of cumulative long liquidation leverage. So there's basically 12 times more cumulative short liquidation leverage in the market compared to cumulative long liquidation leverage in the market. This is fuel for a short squeeze. Now, it doesn't mean that we just have to absolutely pump. In fact, I would rather we go ahead and sweep the lows because I am currently not positioned. Let's see what happens here. If we can sweep the lows and reclaim, then I do think a bounce would be imminent, only to go ahead and roll over after. But hey, I want to trade this price action. Something else that you need to consider, if we take a look at the CME chart, well, we do have one CME gap all the way up to around $93,000, and naturally, Bitcoin closed the week at around 84K. So we have another CME gap all the way here. The market isn't currently open as I'm recording this video, but you'll notice that this is a pretty significant gap. So I would be surprised if we don't at least go ahead and fill this gap at some point, especially with all of the liquidity to the upside. Consider that. Now, I also wanted to go over the Coinbase Premium. Guys, the selling has been going on nonstop, but it has slowly diminished. And every single time that the selling gets away from its deep red and tries to trend towards green, well, you can see that the price action tries to bottom. The Coinbase Premium Index is a very crucial index for you to pay attention to in this market. Now, Binance actually bought around $100 million worth of Bitcoin for its SAFU fund. Guys, this is complete shit. I've talked about Binance time and time again on the channel and how CZ essentially came out, announced that they're going to buy around $1 billion worth of Bitcoin. But how does this actually impact the market in a positive way if they're dumping billions already? And remember how CZ was so confident about a super cycle? Let's hear what he had to say this time around.
To be honest, a couple of weeks ago, I was pretty positive about the Bitcoin super cycle. But right now, given all the FUD and all the emotions that was stirred up in the community, I'm less confident about it now. To be very frank, because the more FUD you kick up and the more you get all the community riled up, it does have negative effects. And also, basically right now, I think we're living in a very turbulent time globally. Yes. Globally, geopolitically, etc.
Look, we've already talked about this on the channel. We are in a bear market and people will try to attribute these kinds of things as to why Bitcoin is going down. But the reality is we're in a bear market. Risk assets don't perform well in bear markets. And naturally, crypto is the riskiest of assets. We just need to understand that. But you shouldn't be scared because you can trade the price action that is right in front of you. I've been trying to tell you guys that you want to learn how to trade this market. This way, regardless of the conditions, you can actually make money, whether you want to go long or short. Obviously, these kinds of conditions have allowed me to go short, and I've been favoring shorts most of the way down. Now, I do think that it may make sense to start looking for some potential longs. As I've outlined at the beginning of this video, we really have to see what happens with that tariff low. If we can sweep the low, I would be more confident in actually considering entering a swing long in this market. But because we're $100 off, guys, I'm just comfy in my shorts and I don't rush my trades. If you want to know exactly when I go ahead and trade, well, you do have the first link in my description down below. DM me the keyword 2026 on Telegram and I'd be happy to onboard you in my group. Next thing I wanted to go over, Tom Lee is down around $7 billion on his Ethereum portfolio. This guy has been giga bullish from the day he was born. He talked about $100,000 Ethereum in 2025, then he pivoted to 2026. And actually, if we take a look at the list of trading losses on Wikipedia, the biggest trading losses that is, well, you can see here that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, he's getting close to the top 3. And this is, of course, only if he sells, but you'll notice that people in crypto don't tend to sell. So we'll have to see if he can just manage his position and hold on to it until the next bull market cycle. Because guys, if Bitcoin does end up rolling over, which is still my base case, well, Ethereum and the rest of the crypto market will be dropping even more. We know this because this is the kind of environment where Bitcoin dominance thrives. As you can see here, I am still longing Bitcoin dominance. Altcoins simply cannot cope with this kind of price action. And the last things I wanted to show you, gold and silver did post massive reversals and did erase the majority of their losses on the day today. Gold is back above 4,700, silver is back above 87. This is crazy price action, especially for precious metals. And the final thing, the key events of this week. Today we do have the ISM manufacturing PMI data. Tomorrow we have the JOLTS job opening data. Then we have Google's earnings on Wednesday, the initial jobless claims on Thursday. That will be very, very interesting to see. We'll get Amazon's earnings on Thursday as well, and then we get the January jobs report on Friday. It's all about the labor market and earnings this week. This will likely provide even more volatility in this market. And that sums up today's quick video. Bitcoin dropped to below $75,000, but we did not manage to tap into those tariff lows. Because of this, I don't have that much confidence in a massive swing long in this market, but I do think that we can see a bounce. If we start to get daily closes below that tariff capitulation wick, things will be looking really bad, and I would be expecting Bitcoin to go below $70,000. Either way, I'm shorting since 97K, and I will continue to maintain some of that position in the market. As always, if you enjoy the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. I have my bluff and leverage trading tutorial right here, and I'll see you in the next video.